This is an outrage!
Darth Ravage exclaimed.
Malgus was a traitor who tried to usurp the Emperor's throne. Now you expect us to grant his apprentice a seat on the Dark Council?
Darth Marr, senior-ranking member of the Dark Council, refused to respond in kind to Ravage's aggressive outburst. Instead, he carefully gauged the reactions of the 6 other members who had gathered in the meeting chamber deep inside the Emperor's citadel on Dromund Kaas. Unlike Ravage, they remained calm, though from their expressions it was clear they shared his reservations.
No one of us can make demands on the others,
Marr assured them.
But I will remind you that Darth Hadra turned her back on Malgus when he turned his back on us. And Darth Hadra's untimely demise has left the sphere of technology vacant. All I'm asking is that you consider her as a candidate for the position.
She's a Falleen,
Darth Mortis objected. Darth Rictus, the oldest member of the council, nodded to show he shared Mortis's opinion. Marr fought back the urge to rail against their bigotry. Malgus had overreached when he tried to proclaim himself the new emperor, but he was right about one thing. If the Empire wanted to defeat the Republic, they could no longer cling to their overt prejudice against lesser species. Keeping entire worlds subjugated put too great a strain on Imperial military resources. It was far more efficient to try and enlist them as willing allies in the war against the Republic. But Marr knew arguments would only push the already fragile Dark Council toward a complete schism. Now was not the time for infighting. The Republic had them in retreat across the galaxy. A united front was their only hope of survival. Defense of the Empire was his official sphere of influence, so it fell to him to bridge the divides among his fellow council members.
Our numbers dwindle,
Marr reminded them.
We need allies. Elevating a Falleen to the Council shows other species that there is a place for them in our Empire.
Perhaps the problem is that the other species have forgotten their proper place,
Mortis replied.
Well played, Mortis,
Darth Vowron chimed in, letting his words hang in the air for a dramatic moment, before adding,
Yet we should not dismiss Darth Hadra so quickly.
Marr had been hoping for Vowron's support. A pure-blooded Sith who reveled in the courtly intrigue, sly politics, and unbridled hedonism of the Imperial nobility. He was also responsible for the production and logistics sphere of influence. He knew numbers better than anyone. The Republic had more soldiers, more resources, and more allies than the Empire. And if the Empire couldn't recruit more worlds to its side, it was going to lose.
Darth Hadra has proven herself quite valuable to our war effort,
Vowron reminded them all.
Without her, our situation would be untenable, rather than just precarious.
Darth Ravage grunted, unconvinced.
You're giving the credit to her, when we all know it should really go to the ship. Any one of us could have her success if we controlled the Ascendant Spear.
And therein lies the problem,
Vowron continued.
We don't control it. She does. And I doubt she'll hand it over to you just because you ask.
The ship is part of the equation,
Marr admitted.
Darth Mechas controlled the technology sphere when she developed the Ascendant Spear. There is some logic in giving the portfolio to the one who now controls the last of her creations.
Are you scared of her?
Darth Rictus asked, ending his question with a gleeful cackle. Marr ignored the question, refusing to rise to the old man's bait.
I'm willing to consider other candidates for the seat, he continued, if any of you has a worthy suggestion.
Darth Grievous,
Mortis offered, and there was a general murmur of assent from the rest of the group. Inwardly, Marr cringed. It wasn't that Grievous wasn't suitable for the position. The Dark Lord had proven his worth by successfully undermining the Republic campaign to restore the devastated world of Taris. But Grievous was a link to the old ways. Ambitious and ruthless, he had earned many influential allies in the upper echelons of Imperial society, and just as many enemies. Bringing him into the council would open the door for more infighting, as old grudges would be rekindled, and it would do nothing to convince other species to join the Imperial cause. Worst of all, his selection was sure to anger Darth Carid. Fortunately, Gravis's victory on Terrace had been overshadowed when his fleets lost control of the mineral-rich world of Lerator, a costly setback for the Empire.
Gravis failed to keep the Republic at bay in the Mid-Rim,
he reminded them.
He has fallen back to Botha Wee to regroup,
Mortis replied.
Soon he will launch a counter-offensive and reclaim Lerator for the Empire.
If he is successful, then I can see no reason to oppose him as a candidate,
Marr grudgingly admitted.
Then we are all in agreement,
Mortis pushed.
Once Lerator is back under Imperial control, Gravis should be given a seat on the Dark Council and control over the technology sphere.
Marr spoke quickly before anyone else could interject.
I said I wouldn't oppose Gravis as a candidate,
he said, his voice firm.
He should be considered, as should Carid. We should take some time to think about both candidates before we make a final decision.
Once again, we are all humbled by your wisdom, Darth Marr,
Valron said, his voice hovering on the line between sincerity and mockery.
I propose we adjourn this meeting so we can all ponder this very important decision.